So for years, Grimlock has been one of the most underrated Transformers, and it's honestly, it makes no sense. I'm just going to be flat out honest with y'all. It's always been the Optimus Prime and Megatron show. You know, they're the ones that always get the attention from the fans, and it's actually kind of funny because comics actually goes out of their way to show that there's other characters here too, and then people are like, oh yeah, Optimus and Megatron are the strongest and stuff like that. But again, you got the big Tyrannosaurus over here out showing them just at every corner. So today we're not gonna do one, we're not even gonna do two, we about to do 10 of the strongest Grimlocks. All right, every variant from multiversal to out-of-versal quite casually, because again, I'm tired of seeing y'all downplay the namesake of this channel. So what we about to do is that we about to give Grimlock every little bit of nook and cranny and feats and everything, just to make sure y'all understand just how powerful this guy is compared to Optimus and Megatron. So without further ado, please comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends. And keep in mind, I will be doing full-length videos for at least 5 of these variants. So without further ado, let us begin. Number 10, I definitely have the Prime Wars Trilogy Grimlock here. Now, this one is actually a bit interesting, and I never really gave the Prime Wars Trilogy a real look when it comes to scaling, because I'm gonna be real, it's very slow paced and it's kind of hard to continue watching until, well, Burning Ghidorah on Discord, or King of the Ghidorahs, actually gave me a good look at this here. So keep in mind, this does go to him. And well, with that being said here, Prime Wars Grimlock does get to Universal, and believe it or not, you can make some arguments for multiversal quite casually. Maybe even, you know, complex multiversal as well. This is because you can scale this off of just alternate G1. No, I'm not kidding. Prime Wars Trilogy is really just an alternate G1 timeline, meaning you can just scale it off of like other things such as, you know, basic Japanese G1, or some of the lower ends here, like Megatron having the power to create a universe, or having the power of the universe inside of him, right? And, well, you know, you guys get what I mean, right? He has the power of the universe and stuff like that. But keep in mind, Grimlock would actually be stronger than Optimus and Megatron due to his feats in the Prime Wars Trilogy. For starters, he was able to take attacks from Overlord, who killed Victorion, a combiner, mind you. And combiners were known to be like casual, and I mean casual, planet busters. They were like the heavy hitters of the entire thing. And keep in mind, Overlord casually snapped her head off like it was nothing, but yet he could barely manhandle an off-guarded Grimlock, and Grimlock even managed to burn him a little bit. So yeah, he's got that. Then you got like versions of Optimus that have the ability to basically do a cosmic fire blast. Megatron, and well, Megatronus himself. Yeah, believe it or not, Grimlock actually is one of the heavy hitters in the Megatronus fight, if not the only heavy hitter until Optimal Optimus actually steps in. Keep in mind, this is where Optimus Primal actually gains the Matrix of Leadership and becomes Optimal Optimus. It's a whole mess, I'm gonna be real with y'all. But again, it does make perfect sense here. Just wish that the story could have kinda did it a little bit more justice, right? So when he does become Optimal Optimus, this is actually pretty important, because during the skirmish, him and Grimlock, before he got the Matrix, mind you, were able to not only bum rush, but restrain the Fallen repeatedly. Then the Fallen is able to eventually knock them away, and then puts them in a fire loop, causing them damage. However, once it dissipates, Grimlock and him get back up and start charging at the Fallen again. Keep in mind, the Fallen in this continuity was able to defeat Unicron, at least back in the past, and even use the Requiem Blaster to blow him up originally. Meaning that during the G1 movie, it's actually Unicron returning and then coming back to lose to the Matrix of Leadership yet again. So, yeah, Unicron got technically beaten 3 times here. So, yeah, you 3-0. You 3-0, bro. It's time to go, man. It's technically 4-0, because eventually you died at the end trying to possess Megatron and trying to turn him into Galvatron. I know, absolutely crazy, ain't it? And keep in mind that the Requiem Blaster as well would also scale to Megatronus, and this means that they would actually be able to scale to the rifts in space and time, which the Requiem Blaster is able to create, because it casually creates black holes as a side effect of its attacks. And this is actually pretty important because, again, being able to rip a hole through the space and time of a Transformers universe in general is absolutely ridiculous, considering the sheer fact that every Transformers multiverse is infinitely layered. Even the universes are all infinitely layered altogether. So you could easily get this Grimlock from Universal as a low end to Complex Multiversal as a high end. I know, absolutely crazy for one of the few worst series that Transformers has ever produced. But again, the scaling is there, and it's absolutely crazy. Number 9 is Beast Wars Grimlock. Again, another one we can easily get from Multiversal to casually Complex Multiversal. Reason why he's higher than Prime Wars is because he just has a much higher base end than Prime Wars here. But let's talk about it, right? His feat is actually pretty simple. He was able to press shock, I'm probably gonna say this right. He pressed Shock Rat so badly, right, that he called for help. He called for reinforcements. All right, he said, nah, I can't do what I need to do with this dude on me. I need help ASAP. And so his minions came, right? But keep in mind, Shockrak himself was a herald of Unicron. But this is important, right? How powerful was he as a herald of Unicron? So Shockrak had actually bonded with Unicron by using a huge strand amount of amalgamous energy. This is actually an energy that does come from the Earth or Unicron himself. So Shockrak got it from Unicron himself, right? Thus, pretty much, swearing his allegiance and everything and becoming a herald, right? Shockrak was going to use this power, and I want y'all to keep this in mind. He was going to use this power to rewrite all of time and space to put him on top. This would include everything in the Beast Wars multiverse, because keep in mind, he has to rewrite history itself. History in Transformers is the basic foundation of a multiverse, okay? Every multiverse or every universe starts out the same. So him to go all the way back and rewrite history itself would be him rewriting an entire infinitely layered strand of history, okay? Just to put him on top. He was going to change the entirety of the timeline, of the time stream in general. Meaning he was going to rewrite not only infinite universes, but every infinite possibility that came with them. Because keep in mind, that's how Transformers works. A single thought creates a branch line universe. So he was going to not only rewrite that, but change that. And yet here we go with Beast Wars Grimlock, mind you, being able to not only take a blast from him that the other Maximals couldn't, but he pulled up on him like, nah, buddy, this is just like old times for me. Put them hands up. Run those claws. You already know. Grimlock just wanted the smoke. And that's all he was really doing in Beast Wars. I mean, dude was reactivated and immediately just started looking for smoke. I mean, this dude also ragdolled every Predacon that would scale to the Maximals. So it's not even hard to say here. So with that being said here, Beast Wars Grimlock would easily be at Multiversal as a base end, Complex Multiversal as even a mid end, that could even be possible. And then at a higher end, you can easily get him to Hyperversal because of the infinite levels or the infinite layers of an entire cosmology. So you got that for you. But again, he's definitely got the number 9 spot on here because there are characters that have a lot more higher consistent ends. Matter of fact, let's talk about those characters with higher consistent ends. Number 8, we got Bayverse Grimlock here. And again, interchangeable with number 7, but again, he's here for a reason. So Bayverse Grimlock easily gets to Multiversal all the way to Hyperversal quite casually. And again, I've done this with Bayverse characters before. My boy Reginald or Nothing Important here has also done this with Bayverse characters as well. Go ahead and check out some of his Bayverse videos. So yeah, so Grimlock would actually scale above Optimus and Megatron. And again, I understand, I know people are going to be like, well, you know, Optimus managed to pit slap him and stuff like that. But keep in mind, in the last night, he goes on to manhandle Megatron so badly that Megatron simply said, nah, we got to go. I don't want no smoke with this Tyrannosaur no more. Nope, get me out of here, right? And keep in mind, Grimlock was strung upside down and kept in lockdown ship for God knows how long. I mean, we don't even know how Lockdown even managed to capture the Dinobots in the first place, right? But again, he would definitely scale relative, if not slightly above, Last Night Optimus, who would be significantly stronger than the Fallen, by the way, and I know a lot of people find this very contentious because a lot of people say that the Fallen was weakened when Optimus fought him. He couldn't destroy the sun and stuff. And again, that's a whole situation entirely. Like, I feel like a lot of people didn't watch the movie. But no, the Fallen was definitely terrified of Optimus because he knew Optimus had the capacity and capability of killing him. But keep in mind, that doesn't take away from the Fallen at all. He's still a powerful threat. But again, he feared someone that was capable of killing him. Understandable, right? And we know the Fallen scales above the Allspark, or at least scales directly to it. He should scale above it, considering the fact that, you know, the Fallen knows his own power. And keep in mind that the Matrix was to give Optimus the power of the Allspark combined with the power and the knowledge of the 13 original primes. All right, so the same 13 original primes that the Fallen had killed and was eventually sealed by. Okay, like, so this means Optimus would scale above Prima in Revenge of the Fallen, who sealed the Fallen away. The Fallen himself also has confirmation that he is able to destroy all of creation. Keep in mind, this does not mean the Transformers Omniverse. This means the Bayverse continuity, okay? So the games, movies, and, you know, comics and stuff like that, the alternate comics or the Titan magazines and stuff like that, he would be able to destroy all of it. And yet we have Optimus casually blitzing him, cutting him up, and then shoving his hand through his chest as he blows his back out. No diddy. And keep in mind, the Bayverse continuity is confirmed to be a 17-dimensional brand space, or brand multiverse, if you will. So you can easily get that to Hyperversal quite casually because of the 17-dimension scaling, all right? So with that being said here, Grimlock scaling to a Megatron that was significantly stronger than Optimus at that point in time. You could possibly argue that he was tired, but again, he should have had enough time to not only rest, but to gain his strength back in order to at least continue fighting against the likes of the Decepticons. Plus, again, Transformers have, like, impeccable stamina. Like, I'm gonna be real with y'all. They waged war for, like, thousands of years before humans were even a thing, to be honest. So, yeah, they got some stamina, let's be real. And the fact that Megatron was able to manhandle Optimus and the other Autobots like Hound and Bumblebee with one arm, mind you, and Grimlock was casually able to ragdoll him, yeah, I would definitely say Grimlock definitely is like top 5 in the verse. You could possibly argue a bit higher, but then again, you still have other characters to contend that with. Number 7 is easily Fall of Cybertron Grimlock. Now, I got him above Bayverse because I actually do think he would beat him in a fight. But again, keep in mind, they are in the same tier. Complex multiversal to hyperversal. And maybe you could possibly argue a little bit higher. I ain't gonna lie. Autoversal Transformers Prime is kind of possible. But again, got a little bit of that contentiousness and that consistency that we gotta talk about. But let's start off right. Did you know Grimlock in like his pre-Dinobot form legit bum rush Shockwave and then cracked that dude in his face? And keep in mind, Shockwave was taking attacks from Bulkhead, Wheeljack, RC, and Bumblebee all at the same time. Bro was him. And keep in mind, Ultra Magnus too. Ultra Magnus, you know, couldn't even damage him. But Grimlock with a single blow did. And keep in mind, Grimlock was also a master strategist in the war. So much so that Shockwave even stated, hey, if you was there, You probably could have figured this plan out. Probably could have figured out a way to prevent it. But keep in mind, this dude also endured a lot as well. For starters, he was eaten alive by Insecticons and forced to actually survive the pain. You know, he was forced to actually like survive the entire thing, right? And then keep in mind, still damaged, mind you, Shockwave kept ripping this dude apart over and over and over again, to the point where he became this glorious king, mind you. And keep in mind as well, Grimlock himself was so powerful that he was able to kill Predacons by himself. Something that no one in the franchise could have done. With the possible closest one you could possibly say, other than Unicron, was likely a user with the Dark Star Saber or the Star Saber. Meaning Grimlock would actually scale to some of the strongest weapons of the 13 original primes, right? And keep in mind, in order to actually damage a Predacon, you originally needed like solar system levels of like attack potency, because the weapons that they needed in the original storyline for like Transformers Prime, for like season 3's writing, was that they needed like near black hole level, or pretty much black hole technology, in order to do so. And keep in mind, this was ancient technology. And then Optimus also needed like magic amped weapons from the souls of dragons to actually be able to damage Predaking, who got his own weapons boost as well. So again, absolutely insane as well. Again, I'll make a full video for Fall of Cybertron Grimlock. He'll be the start of it, all right? So keep that in mind and get ready for it, okay? Then you have the fact that he scales to Bruticus. Yeah, all the Dinobots pretty much scale to Bruticus relatively. And then you also have characters like Megatron, Soundwave, and Breakdown, believe it or not. They would easily scale to those Bruticus levels of attack potency here. And Grimlock himself also has his own hacks and abilities. He gets stronger the angrier he gets. He also, you know, has an incredible healing factor, being able to heal from a lot of the damage once he got his Dinosaur and Predacon CNA. However, let's talk about why he scales so high. He would scale above the Darkspark feat. This is actually pretty impressive because the Darkspark itself was launched through the entire multiverse, to the point where it basically broke through 3 membranes. Okay, 3 quantum membranes. So it went from the Prime continuity to the Transtech continuity, which is basically the Beast Wars continuity, but again, Transtech is like a much more advanced Beast War, if you guys saw the top 10 Optimus Primes video, right? And then, keep in mind, finally, it went to the Bayverse continuity. So you have something that literally had the power to travel through 3 infinitely layered multiverses. But it doesn't stop there, right? Did you know the Darkspark is actually the concept of death itself? Literally given the power of Mortalis, a member of the Guiding Hand, beings who actually sit above the 13 original primes, with I think Alpha Trion actually being the only one to become one of the 13 guiding, or one of the original Guiding Hands. There's only 5 members, excuse me. So Mortalis himself, already scaling above other weapons or other beings like Vector Prime and even the Fallen as well, and yet Optimus is overpowering this kind of power. And Grimlock himself is just so much more powerful than Optimus, especially even at that point, that he scales to the Prime cast, who would also be above this feat as well. Number 6, we have Dreamwave Grimlock, and this one is where we actually do get into the outerversal levels of attack potency, okay? So, believe it or not, Grimlock in this one is a bit more of a amalgamation of things, considering Dreamwave does contain some of the Unicron Trilogy and stuff like that. However, with this continuity, Grimlock was actually considered so strong, right? And so much more powerful that Optimus didn't want to fight him. He didn't dream. He would never dream of physically contending against Grimlock at all. And again, Optimus is a humble person, but he also knows his own strength very well. And keep in mind, Optimus was doing things like running up on Devastator punching his chest open, and then pulling out his ion cannon and busting multiple caps inside of him. No diddy. But again, Optimus was doing some insane stuff in here. I mean, even using the Armada stuff, which is also a part of the Dreamwave continuity, Optimus was also able to defeat the Heralds of Unicron, who would also scale to some of the weapons of the 13 original primes, like the Requiem Blaster, which is able to open holes in space and time. Then there's also the fact that he would scale to Jetfire. I would definitely think he scales above him as well, who is able to help Optimus handle the Matrix of Infinite Possibilities power in order to harm a Unicron that was able to eat and destroy his own narrative. However, he has actually a better feat, in my opinion, than, well, Jetfire, or at least a one that's implied that he could have actually been better. Believe it or not, this was actually not supposed to happen, at least not in this way. But again, Grimlock taking attacks from the Fallen is actually impressive, especially the physical attacks, because this would have likely knocked out and killed any other Cybertronian. Oh, and by the way, keep in mind that Megatron has had folded several Autobots before this, like, quite casually. And Grimlock said, oh, so we doing that? Okay, hold on a minute. And keep in mind, he also, like, one-shotted. He one-shotted Bludgeon when Bludgeon was trying to pull up on. He said, nah, I need you to get aside real quick, though. And he tried to harm the Fallen, but again, it just didn't work. Oh, by the way, keep in mind in this continuity as well, this dude had such a vicious beef with Blitzwing that he would bully him any chance he get. Like, there's, like, in these few instances here you're about to see, he legit sees Blitzwing, grabs him, and throws him into an Omega Sentinel. He did not like him at all for some reason. I don't know what it was, but he and Blitzwing had some beef, okay? But here's another funny one, right? Blitzwing was able to harm both Optimus and Megatron because he was on that double, you know, traitor type of stuff, right? Grimlock literally grabs this man's tank nose and bends it backwards to the point where it's pointing at him. Dude was petty when it came to Blitzwing, okay? I'm not messing with him. But let's get into this actual feats, right? Did you know Grimlock actually was originally a champion of Primes? Keep in mind, we can use this because of the infinite possibilities within the Transformers multiverse, meaning that it does happen at some given point within another universe. And so, Grimlock, giving the power of Primus, was not only able to use this to resurrect Optimus, but was meant to actually have an actual fight with the Fallen. Like, I'm not talking, no, oh, the Fallen whoops him out. I'm talking about, nah, rock'em sock'em type of fight here. He was actually supposed to fight him. And keep in mind, the Fallen himself, not only being one of the multiversal 13, which is a singularity, mind you, he is a multiversal singularity. But don't worry, we're going to address that when the Shroud video comes out, all right? But keep in mind as well that the Fallen himself is the literal concept of entropy and is known to be a threat to the entire Omniverse. Keep in mind, this is vastly different than Bayverse Fallen, but again, the Fallen here is a threat to the entire Omniverse, okay? And was actually a threat to all of creation. If you want to say this is the Dreamwave continuity, okay, I'll give you guys that. But keep in mind, this also does mean he threatens the exact same Optimus that was harming Unicron. That was eating a Unicron avatar that was eating and destroying everything on a narrative level. So this Grimlock was really supposed to be at an outerversal level, or is at an outerversal level, because again, he is the champion of Primus in another timeline. Number 5, I have obviously Marvel Comics or Marvel G1 Grimlock here. I don't think it's surprising he's on this list. Dude is criminally underrated, especially when it comes down to his feats here. And in all honesty, he's got good statements. The strongest of the Dinobots, or one of the strongest members of the Autobot faction, stuff like that. He's got those kind of quotes, so you could possibly scale him above Power Master Optimus pretty easily. And keep in mind, in weakened states, he's actually been able to fight against an antimatter amped Megatron. And keep in mind, this was a mind-controlled Megatron that was pretty much overloaded with antimatter. And keep in mind, he's also able to withstand antimatter as well. As we can see here, Megatron punches him, and he doesn't just flat out disintegrate. And then he actually goes through Auntie, which is basically an entire Cybertronian computer that pretty much took over the arc here. And she even does a field of antimatter that he actually has to break through, and he casually does that as well. Then we also have the fact that he defeated Guardian robots that were capable of actually had the same skills as the other Autobots as well. However, one of the few characters that he does scale to is Blaster. Now, Blaster is actually a very powerful Autobot in the G1 continuity, and Grimlock was casually able to not only not only able to take attacks from him, but just flat out overpower him in general. Keep in mind, Blaster himself has been able to hold his own against Galvatron and even damage him with the same blast attack, mind you, that Grimlock was able to simply just tank and move on from. With that same Galvatron being able to rip apart Death's head, I think I scaled Death's head before in my Marvel Optimus video, so we know he can easily scale to beings like the Fantastic Four, Thor, and Nova Prime himself, so that's not even hard to even get to Outerversal quite casually anyway. Then you also have the fact that he was also able to damage Trypticon. Keep in mind, while yeah, he did have help, he was the only one to actually cause a significant injury to him, to the point where Trypticon actually retreated, and he straight up bit this man's arm off, or at least bit through it and then ripped the plating off. And then again, like I said earlier, he's also able to harm Galvatron and just kind of like stump him out for a little bit with the other Dinobots as well. And even being able to take attacks from Galvatron repeatedly when his teammates couldn't. And keep in mind as well that Blaster, or at least he was able to, him being able to fight against Megatron while weakened is also pretty impressive, especially an amped up one, considering the fact that Megatron himself is still able to harm Galvatron as well here. So with that being said here, with Galvatron scaling to actual, 616 Marvel characters, Grimlock himself being superior to that of most of the Autobots there, and being superior to an Autobot that harmed Galvatron, yeah, you could easily get him to a Autoversal level quite casually. I don't think it's very hard to say here. But again, more will be explained in the longer in-depth video.
Number 4, I have IDW Grimlock. Now again, I could really be here all day about this. I kind of gave my little bit of a 2 cents about IDW Grimlock being insanely strong, especially when it came to like him versus Ares. But keep in mind, dude was able to beat the crap out of Tarn, who damaged Autobot Megatron. The same Autobot Megatron who made his body before becoming an Autobot, by the way, out of the remnants of his old body, which was made out of Ore 13, the concept of entropy itself. Then you also have the fact that Tarn was actually able to damage him completely, and even internally, meaning Tarn was also able to harm the pan-dimensional innards of Megatron. He was able to possibly bypass the dimension inside of Megatron's body, which is crazy. And keep in mind, when it comes to him and Megatron, Grimlock is actually stated to have held back on Megatron on multiple occasions, mind you. Then you also have the fact that this dude not only beat Tarn so badly that he needed the Justice Division's help, but he also beat him so badly that he left a scar on his face permanently. Yeah, that's why Tarn actually hates him in canon. And keep in mind, Grimlock's bio, his strength level doesn't have a limit. He's compared to even Metroplex, for crying out loud here. That's how much strength the Autobots think he has. But keep in mind as well, Grimlock, along with Optimus as well here, have Dungeons and Dragons scaling. So Optimus, Megatron, and Grimlock all have D&D scaling. And they both are confirmed, or all 3 of them are confirmed to actually exist in it, due to Magic the Gathering. Now, Magic the Gathering is actually another verse that exists within the Dungeons & Dragons cosmology. Basically, it's the same thing, just in a different title, if you will, right? So, not only does Magic the Gathering add to Grimlock's scaling here, but this gets him to like Outerversal. You could probably even say a high Outerversal if you want to. Because, again, this means Grimlock himself is actually around the same level, if not above the dragons, as he's labeled a forbidden card, which are known to be some of the most powerful cards in the field here. And keep in mind, his rank and number at the bottom of the card is usually the best out of 8, and he's a solid 8 out of 8. So this means he would scale above or scale relative to beings like a Tarka, who is an elder dragon, meaning she's at the higher pinnacle of the like basic dragons and stuff like that. And I think the funny part about it is here, with Grimlock being a forbidden card, you could actually make the argument that he is powerful. Because keep in mind, Magic the Gathering has the same ranking system and stuff like that as Dungeons and Dragons. So that you have some decent scaling. And considering the fact he scales to the elder dragons, or at least the much older dragons as well, right? And he's considered a legendary creature and a forbidden card, which puts him at a much higher level. Grimlock not only has the scaling to where you could easily put him above the adult dragons, which scale above abstract beings and stuff like that, even beings who could destroy abstract beings that literally embody the very concept of magic itself. Yeah, no, it's absolutely crazy, right? And Grimlock is scaling to the higher beings in this one, right? And with him being labeled as a forbidden card, which are known to be the most powerful, this means that Grimlock has pretty high, I would probably say a pretty high tier when it comes to the scaling within the D&D verse, or the MTG verse, Magic the Gathering, mind you. So IDW Grimlock casually gets the outer, but again, you guys are gonna have to wait for the longer video for more details. Number 3, I have Cloud Grimlock. Now, this is actually pretty impressive because I had to really dig and find this stuff for this guy. So, believe it or not, Cloud Grimlock himself was actually in a weakened state when he did this, right? Because he had actually fought the Autobots before under Shockwave's control. So he would scale to the likes of the Autobots, pretty much jumping him as a collective, and then he also, in that weakened state, attacked Megatron and bit through him. Like, not all the way through, but he bit into him. Like, he actually, like, damaged him with his jaws. So, Grimlock being able to fight multiple Autobots, amped up by Sarah, mind you, and then when Sarah heals him, and that, honestly, that would give him some of her power as well, he then is able to fight alongside the likes of Sideswipe, Roadbuster, and I think one other as well was there. I think it was Brawn. Yeah, it was Brawn and Rodimus that were also there. So the power of Sarah is absolutely no joke, right? She's actually, if I had to say how she is, she's like the Franklin Richards of Transformers, an all-powerful entity that embodies the energies of the multiverse, right? However, her power is so magnificent, I could say. Magnificent, if not magnifying, right? To the point where an amp from her is so significant that it allows you to fight avatars of Unicron and avatars of Alternities casually, mind you. And keep in mind, there's a bunch of ways you can easily scale that as well. Easily from the outerversal, if not high outerversal ranges, because of how powerful Alternities are. I mean, you guys have seen my how powerful Alternity Optimus videos, right? They all scale relative and around each other, so it's absolutely ridiculous. So while Grimlock does not have most of the feats in this one is still outerversal by the feats that he is given, especially considering the fact that even in a weakened state, he harmed Megatron, who is one of the top tier, or one of the top 2 strongest in this series. Number 2, I have Binaltech Grimlock. Now, this is actually pretty impressive, believe it or not, because I've always thought these guys were nothing more than just write-offs. But again, these guys are a little different than Alternatives, you know? They have the same properties, the same usage, except, well, you know, Grimlock was kind of disappointed that he had to actually go through this. And keep in mind, he does participate in the Alternity run as a guard to the Planetcrons, meaning he would actually scale above the Planetcrons who were able to fight against the Alternity. So we do have to consider that as well. But keep in mind, Grimlock in the Binaltech story run is actually pretty impressive. For starters, he defeats Soundwave in one-on-one combat and is actually able to harm a creature that had Prowl's life force. Basically, this is like Alternator Prowl as well, being possessed by this creature or basically being used as a battery by this creature, and Grimlock and Jazz are able to harm him until Grimlock is gives Jazz his sword for a combination of their powers and abilities to ultimately help save Prowl. So individually they can harm the creature, but together they were able to fully just extinguish it altogether. Now keep in mind, Alternities themselves have basically two forms, their avatars and their true forms. Grimlock would honestly be no different at this point, meaning he would scale to the likes of Starscream, Skywarp, Thundercracker, and Megatron, who are all able to actually harm the entirety of the Transformers Omniverse with their weaponry, being able to attack opponents from the past, present, and future all at the same time, and being able to literally rip the time away from any multiverse altogether. Which, with Grimlock's sword, he actually is able to produce an electromagnetic force that's actually capable of like slicing through the fabric of space and time or something like that, if I remember, or if the bio pretty much comes out correctly here. And his sword can even affect an opponent's life force quite casually. So yeah, he definitely takes a number 2 spot because he has some relation to the Alternities and even scaling to them as well. Oh, and number 1, it was obviously going to be Volcanicus Grimlock, Takara Grimlock, Takara Tome. Yeah, I think it's kind of casual. This guy is like Universal, right? I mean, high Universal too. I mean, he scales to the avatars, if not the strongest avatars of the 13 original primes. Oh wait, we got to get into detail, of course. For starters, he has amalgamous energy, the very same energy that is used by Unicron and Gaia. Keep in mind, Gaia is also a very powerful entity, the sister to Primus and Unicron. And yet here we have Grimlock here, just casually using their powers and abilities. But then he gets a combination core from his dead Dinobot brother in Grimestone, and then becomes something nightmarish. For starters, he's able to bully the likes of Megatron Supreme, as he casually was deflecting energy blasts and shoving him around to get him away from Abominus, and then Abominus actually does wind up helping him out further as the story progresses, right? But keep in mind, he also was confirmed to be so powerful that the Autobots actually feared him, and the Dinobots as well were also able to whoop out the rest of the Cybertronian army, including the likes of Omega Supreme, until Skylings came and ambushed them. However, the Combaticons, the Technobots actually come in and aid their father, give Grimlock his intelligence back, and now he has the ability to target an opponent's weak points. However, one of his best feats is that he was able to go toe-to-toe with an evil avatar of Primus that was amped, mind you. Keep in mind, this Primus was actually able to kill a gold-powered true form Primus from an alternate reality. Keep in mind, the gold power allows beings and wielders to actually become superior to that of alternity avatars. So casually superior to them, right? And keep this in mind as well. They were able to casually summon beings that are rivals or are equals in power to the alternatives avatars from across the entirety of the Transformers multiverse. Meaning that Grimlock here was superior to a power that literally gave the power of the entire Omniverse to somebody. Oh, and then he went on to 1v1 this Primus, and then split his head open, causing him to, revert back into Cybertron and ultimately win the battle. The same Primus that literally embodies every concept of nobility, every concept of order itself. This is everything that Primus embodies, by the way, because he is a platonic abstract god, mind you. And keep this in mind, he casually did this. Like, he straight up 1v1 the dude, grabbed his sword, and said, nah, buddy, we're about to end this right here. You might say, oh, well, it's a combiner. Keep in mind, combiners do not function unless one person is fully in charge. So Grimlock being in charge and being able to defeat higher dimensional beings. Yes, you can scale his team to this as well. But keep in mind, he would have the majority of the feats because he's in control of it. Okay, he's in control of the combiner, and he's in control of how it moves, thinks, and reacts. Basically,
it's him with extra limbs. But that's going to be all today, you guys. Please comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And don't worry, top 10 strongest Megatrons will be coming out very soon. Peace.